A brother took to act.com, singing a song, united we stand strong. How? Sign up now. A brother took to act.com.
Okay guys, Ty Griffiths here, telling you a little bit about the person. The person, the word, has been redefined from the Webster Dictionary into legislation as a legal fiction that can be described rights, duties, pay taxes, these types of things. So, everybody has a person. Now the person is a legal fiction, and the legal fiction needs a chief executive officer, and guess who that is? You are a chief executive officer of your own company. So sign up and we will show you how, okay guys? Because when you sign up, we're going to show you how you can use this person, this legal fiction, to truly profit in your everyday life. So guys, it is very interesting. When you take your mail out and start to divide it up into seeing who's sending all capital letters of your name, that would be sending it to your person. That's what they named it, all capital letters of your name. That would be your person. Now guys, who's interacting with you through these? These are always the insurance companies, the tax man, the bank, the courts, any kind of, universities, any kind of system, institutions, they will deal with that. Now really what are they doing is they're dealing with you on CEO status because you're a chief executive officer of that numbered company. So how is it that we need to interact with the courts and with the institutions is via chief executive officer status. First things first is you got to understand you are a chief executive officer of your own numbered company, and that numbered company is your name, all spelled out in capital letters, and they open it at birth. Why didn't they tell this from grade 1 to grade 12? Who knows what the reason truly is. But bottom line, every one of us has to understand what we're dealing in. And we're dealing in commerce. This is how they deal with this, the institutions. And in commerce, you have this numbered company that you act with, okay? A good example is the bank will not do business with you unless it is through your person, because they really can't, because they can only receive what they need from you by you being CEO status, because you have what they need and actually to create the money, which is your signature. Because you have what they need and actually to create the money, which is your signature. So it is very interesting on how this affects our everyday life, and none of us have been taught this from grade 1 to grade 12, right? Some guy telling you about it. When you step into, let's say, a bank, all right, I want you to understand something. You now are stepping in as a chief executive officer, but you don't know it. So you're going to go for a loan. Somebody is an agent to your money, because the person who creates the financing is actually you, because your signature is the one that they need to actually go off and then sell the debt to the world market. So who is really in control here if they really knew, that's you and me, right? The private sector, if they actually knew how the deal worked. We always go thinking, well, the bank is in control and that's the state of mind they have us in. Well, I mean, really, if we know that we're chief executive officers now, it's a little different, because now you're walking in with a little clout going, wait a minute, if it's my signature signing, I should be treated in a different way, because this is the kind of stuff we're moving towards. Because as soon as we all come together through the technology really quickly, with the technology these days, we're nanoseconds away from each other, okay? So the bank, the insurance companies, the courts, all these people are interacting with your person, are dealing with us through our person, not our human being. When you're really dealing with the bank, a CEO status, chief executive officer status, is what they're dealing with you in. They're actually saying, yes, you have a company, and this company is traded on the world market, and we can access money. So when you start looking at how the banks interact with the private sector, us, when somebody goes and signs for a mortgage, really what is happening? Now, is the bank acting as agent or lender? These are two very, very important terms you need to understand as a chief executive officer. When you go into the lawyer's office, it's very interesting. There are 2 lawyers in a real estate deal. I'm talking about the standard real estate deal. There's 2 lawyers, but 3 entities, okay? Now, what are the 3 entities? There is the buyer, and then there is the seller. But guys, there's also the third-party financer, the bank, but there's only 2 lawyers. So there's very interesting. Who doesn't have representation here? It is you guys, us, the private sector, the buyers at that point, okay? Now, you would think you go and well, I get to pick the lawyer, right? But really, you get to pick the lawyer. It has to be on a list of the banks. And then at the end of it, when the bank sends their money to trust to a lawyer, who are they really working for? And they'll be the first ones to tell you, I'm actually the bank's lawyer. When you take a look at the normal real estate deal that somebody would go and purchase a home to live in, it is very interesting because you now are showing up, you're signing off on these papers. Now, really, when you look at these papers, what should you be looking for? It should be agent or lender. Now, let's understand the difference between that. An agent is somebody who goes and gets you to sign something and says, I'm an agent, so I'm taking this and I'm going to go sell it to get the money. I know to access the money. I will arrange the money. But of course, I mean, in that case, you would give them a commission, right? Now, a lender is truly this. The lender actually has the money in his hands to do a fair exchange, right, with the person who signed the mortgage. That's truly a lender. If somebody has fair exchange, they have the money, and for a fair exchange, they take it, and then there's the note, and there's the money. You got the money. That's how it should work, okay? Now, if you're an agent, and somebody signs off, and they've got the note, they've got the signature, well, at the end of it, if you said, wait, where are you going? Where's the money? That entity would go, well, it says I'm an agent in the paperwork. So I'm going to go off and sell it. Now, here's a very, very interesting part of this. Is the next step at a lawyer's office, they throw you another paper that's actually an encumbrance against your title that you're buying. If the bank is selling the mortgage note, they're an agent. Okay, well, wait a minute. They sold the mortgage note. They must have money sitting somewhere from that note. But then they have you go and sign an encumbrance against a title, but they're an agent, right? So, I mean, this is almost like allowing the agent to take 100% for a commission, right? So for example, if a realtor sold your home, he's an agent to your home, that would be like the realtor, and let's say the home was paid off, that'd be like the realtor somehow getting to keep all the money because of the paperwork and you didn't understand your position as a chief executive officer. This is very interesting. They have you sign off. You have to know, are you a lender or an agent? Now they act as an agent, but then all of a sudden they give you this piece of paper that says, well, here, you're signing off on title and encumbrance. But if you're acting as an agent selling the note, my signature, well then in essence, if I know I'm a chief executive officer, I got some questions here. Because I'd be asking, guys, I'm the chief executive officer and I'm the one signing off for all the money. You're taking my signature and selling it. So wouldn't you have some real questions such as, well, or if you're a lender, I will sign that title now, the encumbrance. But if you're an agent, here, I'll give you a percentage. That would only make sense. But it is very interesting. The buyer has no representation when you really dissect the deal from a lawyer, because there's only two lawyers. One lawyer is for the bank and the other lawyer, well, the seller went and got him himself. This is something that when you really look at it from the information you know now, I'm a chief executive officer. I mean, when I look at all the mail coming from me from all these institutions, it is to this person, which is a legal fiction that I am the chief executive officer of, well, then you'd have to act as one now. So when you're now sitting in the chair at a bank or any kind of institution, you have to realize something. Even this comes down to parking tickets, everything, because they're interacting with your person. When you really understand this whole concept, you can start acting as a chief executive officer, and then your conscious and awareness will just accept the fact that the truth is, I am a chief executive officer and I deal with these people and I realize that they're taking the debt and selling it to the world market. Well, then you have to understand, well, what are they really selling as my signature? So I'm the one that's actually creating the money. That's the private sector. When we come as the private sector and represent ourselves as the private sector, knowing that the lawyers aren't representing the buyers, as of right now, if you started asking certain questions at the lawyer's office, hey, wait a minute, am I a lender or an agent? Right now, if you do that as one person, hey, you're going to lose your financing and they're just going to hit the road. I wouldn't suggest you do it that way. I would suggest you hit the sign up button and then we'll be able to stand there and say, wait a minute, if you are an agent, well, then that's one thing. But if you're a lender, that's another thing. Every one of you, you're a chief executive officer who owns a numbered company that's a legal fiction, and it is your name, and that whole entity is called a person as redefined in legislation. Let's start acting as responsible chief executive officers. Keep in mind, when you're going to the banks or any of these institutions, you're a CEO with a pen. Understanding that, brings a lot of power. When the knowledge brings a lot of power, when you're standing with a pen realizing, wow, I'm not just this little guy who's borrowing money, I'm the guy who actually creates the money. Wow, I'm not just this little guy who's borrowing money, I'm the guy who actually creates the money. Because they're selling the debt to the world market. And it's very important for us to understand that. Peace out, sign up, we'll show you how to use your person. This was made for this function, was for you to act like chief executive officers, and now that you are understand that you're a chief executive officer of a numbered company, let's take it to the next level, guys. Watch the next video, sign up. Peace out, guys. Knowledge is power. Peace out, all right? Later would be great.
That's where it starts, singing our song. What's going on? United we stand